Being a marketing guy, I realize that we live in the world of portmanteau. Portmanteau is basically a combination of two related words to create a related and a deeper meaning. One of the most common portmanteaus used in India is the term English, which combines Hindi and English, two languages that come together to create another blend. So similarly, Biznology is also a portmanteau, but it kind of combines technology and learning to create business success. And when I say technology and learning, it's not just relevant for people who manage technology learning in your companies, but also you may be managing leadership or soft skills or business communication or anything. But how technology can be used in any form of learning. Every company today is a technology company. Now this may sound as a bit of a cliche. Some of you may not represent what we call as a tech sector here. But if you have been part of any of these skill conversations in your company over the last few years, any of these technologies, then your company is a technology company. Today we live in a world where traditional industrial companies like the GEs of the world, the Honeywells of the world are reimagining themselves to being industrial analytics companies, for example. And there is no sector today that is not touched by technology. And technology by nature has what we call as a 2-year half-life, which means whatever skills that you have today, in 2 years' time, those skills will become irrelevant. So we as an industry, if you're representing a tech company or a non-tech company, have reached that point where we need to look at new ways in which learning can become more effective for business success and how technology can be incorporated in learning to achieve business success. Now, let's look at how Biznology actually works. Now, if you look at any learner, the end user, the average Joe who wants to learn, the questions that he faces are fairly common, and these questions will not change over time. He or she is curious about what they should learn. He or she wants to know where they should start, who can help me, should I tap the guy around the shoulder, should I go and attend a class, should I go and find something on the internet. And they also want to know how well I learned. Now, when you use technology in learning, you can impact that end user in 4 ways. Very simple. Technology helps you hyper-personalize. Technology helps you modularize your learning. Technology helps you achieve a balance between pushing learning and also allowing the user a certain degree of freedom to learn what he or she wants. And lastly, technology can make learning sociable and fun. Let's spend a little bit of time understanding how this happens. If you are in learning and development, whichever industry you are in, if you don't invest time in understanding the persona of your user, both as an individual and as a professional, then your L&D program will fail. And one of the best ways to do it is by leveraging data. Technology also helps you, fine-tune your platform to adapt to the behavior of your user. It helps you personalize learning paths. And it also helps you assess them continuously instead of having them to come and sit for quarterly reviews or annual reviews. If you have a technology learning platform, then you can incorporate continuous learning and assessment in your entire life cycle. The second place where technology helps you is in creating bite-sized learning. So I don't agree. I think there's a statement made that nobody wants modular learning. Today, who has time? We live in a world where we're bombarded by 500 channels on TV. How much time do you spend even when you're entertaining yourself on one particular channel? So similarly, if you can break down your learning into modular bits, maybe break a 1-hour course into a 5-minute clip, then a person can actually just go in, learn that particular clip, and then move on. If you can provide the ability to search in granular detail to just arrive at what that person wants to learn. I'll give you a non-tech example, presentation skills. A lot of us have been through presentation skill programs. Maybe the person just wants to learn how to structure the title of a slide. There is a 7-word rule, right? Some of you may have heard of it, 7 words in a slide. So if he just wants to learn that, then he should be able to, through learning, just go to that one particular thing, learn that for 5 minutes and go and implement it. He doesn't need to sit through a 2-hour class on how to make PowerPoint presentations. Today, a lot of learning happens on the mobile phone. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't even look at the mobile phone. I learn through audiobooks while I drive. So if you don't incorporate technology into your learning programs, it's going to be very difficult to start catering to the evolving learning styles of your end user. Even if that person is a professional working in your company, he or she is going to use the same habits, what they use when they do online shopping, or when they're watching a YouTube video, or when they're going and deciding on which holiday to take. How do you strike this fine balance between prescribing what is to be learned and then allowing people to be free? And there are certain companies who just give that freedom, that look, we'll enable you, you go and learn what you want to learn. And there are some companies that say, no, we will tell you what you want to learn. The answer, as always, lies somewhere in the middle. As a company who's investing in learning for your companies, for your employees, you need to get them to learn what you want them to learn, but they should also not feel constrained like it was in the classroom model, where all of them have to learn the same thing at the same time. And the only way that you can do that is by taking your learning online and doing a little bit of prescription, but also giving them the freedom to go out there and learn what they want. The other thing that one must always understand is a person that you train today may very well leave you tomorrow, because there's always this fear that how much should I invest in training, because I might be training this guy to actually take an interview and go to some other company. The truth is you can't prevent it. You can't prevent it. But what you can demonstrate is that I'm willing to understand your career aspiration, and I'm willing to give you a path in my company and give you a program that will take you from point A to point B that you want to go, and then hope for the best. You cannot shy away from investing, and you cannot think about how much should I invest. And the best way that you can do it is by using a combination of prescribed learning as well as giving them the freedom to go and learn what they want. And lastly, decision making in today's world, when it comes to the ROI of the L&D program, the best way that you can answer this is with data. And the data that you get is in terms of the impact that a learning program has made in the delivery quality, in maybe a metric like delivered defect density. If you want to get that data to measure an ROI, you can only do it with online learning, you can only do it with technology. And lastly, everyone here and everyone out there is on a social network. Everybody wants to brag about what they have learned. And today there are so many platforms out there. Captain Shantanu will also talk about gamification, how they've implemented it at Cognizant, but there are so many platforms out there that allow you to actually compete with your peers, or the number of courses that you compete with your peers in terms of the number of badges that you earn, in terms of moving from one point to another in the course. All these things actually make learning fun, and that's like a goal that everybody wants to achieve, but no one has been able to achieve in the traditional models, traditional classroom models. But with online learning, learning can be made fun, learning can be made innovative. Now, once you take the decision of incorporating technology, the other decision is how do you manage learning as a continuum across an employee life cycle and across a technology life cycle, or even if you're in a leadership development, across the life cycle of a particular theory, because theories also change over time. So the best way to do it is to try and map the employee life cycle to the life cycle of the technology or the area that you want to teach. And you will typically arrive at 4 segments. You have the fundamental segment, which is typically targeted at new employees, where you want to teach them foundational skills. The more experienced employees who wish to go deeper into traditional technologies, you can cater to that. The more experienced employees who want to transform themselves from legacy skills to new age skills, you can provision for that. And if you're in a segment where you're getting into new age offerings like machine learning or AI or Internet of Things, you can even start training your new hires on new age technologies. You can forget about those fundamental that they used to go through. And all of you at some point will have to balance the technology portfolio or the skill portfolio that your company needs to manage, and map your L&D program to that portfolio. So we have what we use in Pluralsight is what is called as a technology radar. And what we do is that we kind of map every technology into one of these 5 buckets. Is it a preferred technology that we as a company prefer? Is it a current technology that we see people using around us? Is it a technology that we need to adopt? Is it a technology which we just need to investigate and see how it works? Or is it a technology that we want to avoid, that it doesn't work for us? So if you map the skills that your company finds necessary for its business into these 5 buckets, then you can build this technology radar, and this can be maintained online. A lot of companies are now moving into this segment, which is kind of bringing in e-learning across the enterprise. And the more advanced companies are moving into what is called as, I think what Stefan was referring to as a supermarket model or a marketplace model, where they bring content from multiple different vendors, and they allow their employees to go and search for it. And such models and such flexibility is only possible when you go online and when you bring in technology. What we did was we commissioned an agency to talk to several of our customers around the world and ask them, how did online technology learning help you in your business? And this is what they had to say. They said that 88% of our employees have accessed training when they needed to solve a problem, and they solved it effectively. Which means I'm working on some issue, I have a question, I need to find an answer, I go online, I find the solution, I go back, and it works. By watching 1 hour of training every week online, their employees were able to save about 84 hours of time in a year. That's like 1 whole week of time saved in a year. This is what they learned and improving their productivity. And 55% of learners have used their skills within 1 week of having learned it to improve their life. So these are very clear examples of how when technology is incorporated into learning, be it tech learning or non-tech learning, there are benefits to be.